We see it in cities in the United States, in England, and in El Salvador, where there's such high gang violence that determines how kids feel like they should socialize with one another. And unless we teach them a different way to be human, then they go back to that and they only learn that. That's why we're here. We're filming this, in other words, to really then take it to a wider audience so that we affect 42,000 students that exist in the Archdiocese, and most especially those areas that, are more challenged. Just very quick introduction for each of you, just like I did, to say, who you are and how you connected to Bethlehem Boys and Girls, and what do you hope for today, considering what I just explained, so whoever would like to start. And we have, and this is trouble. This is Monsignor Sergio. Does everybody know Monsignor? Yes, this is Monsignor. He's our local pastor, and we were literally just getting started. Let's see, we're asking folks, why are you here? And most especially, what do you see in trouble? And what do you see as solutions? Introduce yourself. What do you hope for?
I'm Anisha McClatchy. I'm connected to the school because I work here, as well as I have a daughter here.
Okay, terrific. What do you hope for today?
Solutions in dealing with trauma.
All right, who would like to go next?
Hi, good day. I'm Andy Hovell. I live close by to the school, right up there. And I'm connected. I have a son in the boys' school, and I have a daughter in the girls' school here.
Wow, you got double trouble. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
God bless you.
Huh?
God bless you.
Yeah. So, well, as I say, we just want to hear the solutions and about the trauma going on around.
Good, terrific.
Right?
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate that.
My name is Suzette Thomas. I'm affiliated. My son go in Bethlehem Boys RC. I live on Nelson Street, and I just hope we come to a conclusion or a solution on what's going wrong in the community, but just not a solution for everything.
Terrific. Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. So, hi, good day. My name is Melissa Willett. I'm a mother of 5 children. I have 2 boys in the boys' school, and I have 3 daughters here at the school. Right?
God bless you, woman. God bless you.
I have 2 children that is leaving the school, right? September, God's willing, right? And my thing is they living here and going out into society, because when we look out into society, the things that are going on right now, they also have things that are going on inside of the home, right? That even as parents, we ourselves do not know how to deal with. And as a parent, it's the first time actually I'll be going into this as well. I don't have older children that has started secondary school and onward. So it would be something for me as well. And then we have things like bullying outside there. We have things like human trafficking. We have all these things that out there that even me as a parent, I am very scared. To be honest, I am very scared. And with our children leaving us and going out there, and the trauma that they may have on the outer skirt coming in, we as parents, yes, we need to know how we could talk to our children, how we could show them, how we could think. But yes. So I would say that this here, that is here, would be a good initiative, because it will also teach us and empower us and to show us how to be better equipped for when our children comes to us, we could tell them or to show them.
Perfect.
Hi, good day.
Hi, good day.
My name is Jackie Dan Twine. I have 2 daughters going to the school.
God bless you, man.
I would say I'm happy to be here, first of all. The benefits of me coming here, as I see it, besides is learning all about, as everybody have said, the trauma. But I know everybody traumas look different. Some children may learn to hide their trauma very, very, very well. So it's not only about those that show their trauma, but what about those that don't show it? So that is something that, of course, all of us will want to know. When a child comes to us, it's a pleasure when they come to us to tell us. But when they don't, we as parents have to recognize, okay, my child is looking a little different, or she or he may be talking a little different. And, not for us to just think, well, probably they're just going through a phase, or, this is like a little thing, but really try to look and observe and realize when trauma is looking at us in the face without it actually being heard. So that is something that I definitely want to learn about as well.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being here. Monsignor, do you want to talk about why you're here? Just quickly, we'll get back to answering the question.
Yes. So I, Father Martin Sergio, administrator of the cathedral. So Bethlehem boys and girls fall under me. And I've met boys and girls who went to Bethlehem. We even have teachers in our primary school system who went to Bethlehem, boys and girls. And if it can be a success for them, it can be a success for others as well. And once we attend to the various factors, and trauma has many faces, I think it is a good step in the right direction to lifting up our children. Because if they can play pan so well and win competition and so on, it shows they have talent, they have potential. It's just to get that potential out of them. And arresting trauma is one way of doing so.
Terrific. Thank you. Last but not least, you thought you could hide, child of God. You thought you could hide, child of God. You know I wasn't going to forget you. So just introduce yourself.
So hi, I'm Frisha Mohammed. I have a boy in the boys' school and 2 girls at this school. So basically a single parent dealing with all of this. So last option to this.
Terrific. Thank you so much. See, that wasn't too bad now, was it? Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for being here. We really can't thank you enough for your time. Can't thank you enough for the fact that you took the time to be here with everything else you're managing, and especially with all of you who have so many other responsibilities. And again, many of you already got into why we're here. It's really, the first thing is tell us what you're seeing. Tell us what you're experiencing just as a person living here or as a parent, dealing with what you're dealing with. So remember, the first thing is just tell us everything about what you're seeing, and then we'll get into what you see as possible solutions. So just tell us, what forms of trauma are you seeing? What types of trauma seem to be most prevalent, seem to be most, striking for you, and seem to be most problematic? Anybody want to start?
You're next to me. Okay, for me, for all of us that living within this community, it's trauma for us, it's trauma for the children. Sometimes my children are old enough that they could still walk home by themselves. I choose for them not to.
Okay.
Based on the violence, based on the shooting, and there are certain places that we pass to come, for them to come to school where, persons have been killed, shooting have occurred, and it's something that I believe all of our children are getting accustomed to, which should not even be a thing. They shouldn't be getting accustomed to hearing shots and learning what's the difference between a gunshot and fireworks. Right. And sometimes they do recognize the difference, and I to tell you how immune they are coming towards it.
So it's a constant for them and for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that they have to learn how to basically, sometimes when we hear, gun violence around the area, it's like they have to learn how to basically, I guess, go on the ground or hide, or, so even though it's becoming something that they are immune to, it shouldn't be so, because it's traumatic to know you could be going to school and shooting happening. Sometime passing, there's police officers there, dead body on the ground. Yeah. So that definitely, I I remember for one instance, we were inside in our house. The shooting didn't happen exactly around us, but it happened by the police station, and and at the time it was at night, and my children, like, they were sleeping, but the shot was so loud that they got up, and I was sitting outside and they found me outside, and they were just hugging on me so tight. Sometimes being scared to even walk outside because you never know what is going to happen. So it come like going outside and coming back home is, you're lucky to sometimes be able to reach home. So it's not only the children that is having the trauma, but us as parents are having it as well.
Well, that's the part that I think we have to really start talking about.
Yeah.
Is, again, we keep saying, oh, we have to take care of the children, but
It
you were the one
starts-
already outside that they came to.
Yeah.
So you're a survivor of that trauma.
Yeah.
And I think that's common with what I see
Yeah.
in other parents. And that's what I think we're missing, is how, and that's where we need you to tell us what you need, because that's a different intervention that I don't think we've ever thought about.
Yeah.
That we really need to be providing parents with support so that you can be a support to your children who are also experiencing the same thing.
Yeah, because I guess if we don't know how to deal with certain traumas, then how will they able to
Exactly.
learn as well? So,
Exactly. You, as we say, you can't give what you don't have, and so to me, that's an important thing. You look like that's stirring something in you.
Well, I am a living testimony. I am a living testimony because I left school. I left my mom's house and I came to live with my children's father, and I went through abuse. I went through where he dosed me with gas, right? I was in the hospital, right? And my children was aware and they saw these things. And it is a trauma that is in me because I don't want my children to also have, when my daughters have to face this in their life growing up, right? Not just us as parents, but, our guardians, our friends, our teachers, everybody to put things into place just to make our youths, make the youths of society today aware of the things that is out here. A parent has a lot to deal with her. And sometimes I'm a single parent, right? Ever since that happened to me, it is a trauma for me where I can't even look at a partner. I can't even, because it's like the person they came to me all loving and kind, and they changed all of a sudden. And I never thought in my mind that person could have changed so drastically to try to kill me. You understand? And then my children had to experience that on top of it. So it's a thing for me to explain to and I try to just talk to my children, especially my girl child, because I know she's going out in society, have boys that will like her. They will come to her in a certain way. Yes, we all want love. We all, and it's just a thing that you never know. You never know. I'll be talking honestly and open here. We never know who we picking up.
Exactly.
We never know who we picking up, right? So, yeah.
How long ago did that happen?
This happened to me in 2016.
So only 8 years ago.
Yeah,
9
but
years ago.
8 years of being single without no partner living in a home with me.
Wow.
I never lived with a man after that. And I don't
Absolutely.
even know how to start, because knowing I'm taking up somebody from my house and I bring them into my house, and then knowing I have girl children and all these mental things that could happen with my girl children, and even with your boys today, the things that you've seen happening. And
Thank you. And thank you so much for your witness of hope. That the fact that, that your ability to love has been permanently, traumatized and permanently damaged. And your wisdom in saying, I'm going to be really cautious before I let someone into my home. It's very important. Anyone else? What else are you seeing, or what else are you experiencing? No? Oh, no. No pressure. No pressure. Whoever wants. Because I'll pressure her.
Well, for me, the only thing I really well, like, cause this lady here touched on most of my experience with the shooting. But one thing I just see with my daughters is the peers. Sometimes I ain't judging nobody, but sometimes I get them lunch, breakfast to go to school, and they will come back, they share it with a peer. Or I even have a daughter going here, she just come home with a kind of depression sometimes because one of her peers going through something
Sure.
and sharing it with her. And I decided like, that's like how you say, they're hiding it. Yeah. She hiding it inside. Right. So I just sit down, I will see look on her face, I say, nah, what happened? And she say nothing. I keep pressuring she, nah, what happened? Tell me. Your ice cream, tell me. And then she will say, one of her friends going through this at home, and they're going through that at home, and she just kind of feeling bad for them now.
Wow.
Yeah.
You raised a caring child.
Yeah. So then I started like sit down and talk with her and like, trying to explain her and and some of those things and trying like support in a kind of technical way. So like even like if she asks for like funds to come to school, I'll say, right, look at lecture, buy some for your friend, wherever.
Wow.
Yeah.
So not only are you seeing the same thing about what's like in the neighborhood and the violence and the shootings, but then how that affects your own daughter's friendships and what they see and how they, even in the midst of their being traumatized, how much the human spirit wants to care for a good friend and wants to help them and wants to care for them. But notice too, what you just explained is really important as a good parent, that she didn't come home and say, "Oh, Dad, my friend's going through this problem," or everything. You could just tell something was wrong. So notice what the first thing you learned is kids communicate through their behavior. And it's trying to figure out, okay, what's really happening. But look at your natural good skills to just say, okay, I'm not going to give up on you. When you're ready, you can come to me and tell me. And just being a presence, first of all, that you actually are there is the 99% of parenting, is just being there. And secondarily, just listening and not giving up on, I know something's wrong. When you're ready, you let me know. Beautiful parenting, by the way. Well done.
I really don't have a problem, right? My problem is my son, I just allow him to play. I just allow him to go outside and I just tell him about the situation. I say, where you're living, you cannot make it a problem. You have to be something for yourself in this life. You cannot be living a certain place and saying you can't go here and you can't study your schoolwork. You have to study your schoolwork. You have to be good. I just tell my son, you have to pray. You have to go outside because we cannot keep them inside every day.
Absolutely.
We cannot keep these children them inside because they go mad. So I just send them outside. Sure. I just even allow them children to come in and play by me. I don't have a problem with it. And by us, we just, like on evening, everybody come together and make sure the children them do the schoolwork. Make sure they do the schoolwork first and then they go outside and play.
What a great idea.
And I just tell him that, you is not no whatever they call it, 9, 10, 11, 12, you is none of that. He just walk home for his, he's 10, since he's 9 years, he walking home for himself, he come into school for himself.
Good.
I just tell him, walk on the safe side, walk close to the police station and walk up at the side, don't walk in the back there. Right, I just tell him normal. You come down by the police station and you walk in front of the police station and you walk up. It always have police there. And I tell him, just be mindful. Anybody asks you for a drop, I want to get a drop, say, no, you're good, you're going right there. I said, drop your bag, run if you have to forget everything. Don't take no drop from nobody. Don't take nothing from nobody. I say, you need to live your life. You could be living in what area? They're going to label you. Once you sign up for some kind of job or something like that and they hear where you're living, you mightn't get a job because they go think. But it have parents who will talk to the children every day and tell them that is not the way to go. And yet they will go for a job and you wouldn't give them it because you hear the area. Not everybody in the area bad,
Exactly.
It have bad ones. I'm not lying to tell you. I just see that for myself. And they will want to invigorate your children and them and vex with your children when they don't want to line with them. They have small ones too who miserable. But why is they miserable? Because they don't have nobody to even show them the right way, or nobody to pick them up with the schoolwork and tell them this is the right way how to do it. They don't have nobody to show them. So you as a parent or an individual, and you see your friend, your son friend, you talk to him, you do it this way, do your schoolwork. Education could lead you out of poverty. And you don't really need education. You could sew, you could do carpentry. Just learn something where you could take care of yourself when you reach a certain age. And this we have to tell these children and them.
Look at
Okay.
Look, no. Boy, for someone I didn't think was going to say a word, she didn't want that microphone, but thank you so much. What wisdom. Yeah, but look, wisdom.
I have it built up inside because I grew up in an institution. I stayed 5 years in an institution and I was under the Catholic board. And I know about the institution where they say the Catholic, the school do this and that, and I know about that. And I know it's a lie because I grew up in an institution and I know what I have to do for my children to make it out here in this world.
Exactly.
And you have to lead for your children and them and set a good example. You can't be smoking in front of your children and when they reach 10, 11 years and they're smoking, you telling them don't smoke. You didn't set an example. You're drinking, you're not even working, and whole day you're home and you're sending them, a child is a minor, you telling them go even you could be living here and the cigarette parlor, they don't even send them for a cigarette because you're putting the cigarette in their hands.
Right.
You need to set an example for your children. That's what you need to do. And if you cannot set an example, who you expect to set an example for your children and them? Nobody wouldn't do it. Everybody's studying themselves.
Well, look at what you did.
Okay.
No, man.
I want to drop a question because I just want to hear what is your intake on this topic, right? But I just want to hear.
Absolutely.
Some people might think it's a good thing, but I don't. This thing called Jolly Blaster gun. What is everybody's intake about this thing?
This is what? What is it?
Dangerous.
What is it? Chablastic.
It's like a football.
Yeah.
In a form of real gun, so majority and it comes like literally a real gun now.
Oh my.
Yeah. So like how so many guns come jet black, there is jet black. So there's AK, there's you name it. You name it. And what does it shoot out? A jelly?
Kind of small gel ball, but things hard.
Yeah.
But that's not the thing for me. The thing is, it's shaping their minds. That's my thing is. It's a toy, yes, I understand, but it's shaping their minds to shoot. That's my intake. And if it is you don't know how to talk, talk to them about these things, they could shape their mind because they're running around, they're shooting one another. This is what we have in society where people killing each other and these things. So I think it's shaping their mind. That's what I
Exactly.
think.
What you just talked about is what we see in every war-torn country. If you go to Yugoslavia, if you go to the Middle East, to Palestine, if you go to Ukraine, children act like soldiers because mom and dad are soldiers and they're fighting a war. You just described, in many ways, your own war. You're fighting a war in many ways. And so the child is just mimicking what he sees as I need to fight, because people are shooting at me, I need to learn how to fight. So the ways in which we then can teach him how to use different ways of defending himself or herself is really the solution. But that they're mimicking, what's happening in their neighborhood is actually nothing you can control or I can control. But that's a common reality, what we call war-torn behavior. In other words, when we see it in cities in the United States, in England, and in El Salvador, where there's such high gang violence, that determines how kids feel like they should socialize with one another. And unless we teach them a different way to be human, then they go back to that and they only learn that. That's why we're here, is to try to figure out different ways to really teach them to be human and teach them to be boys and teach them to be girls, where they're not shooting each other. So you just identified that's, they're replaying the trauma they experience. That's what we call trauma replay, that they're just replaying it, Other insights. What else are you all seeing? We're going to use you as a parenting tool because you have such wisdom.
There's somebody else.
You want to pass that down? Thank you. This is very wise and helpful.
Okay, so my trauma is I lost my mom, my kid's grandmom, in 2023, late 2023. They were very close to her and they were still fighting to cope with it. And then fast forward to 3 months ago, they lost their dad.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Take your time.
It's a daily struggle because the student who's attending here, she lashes out with anger. The eldest, she has become more introverted. But at the same time, I'm dealing with trauma as well because this was my partner for 15 years. So how do I deal with helping them cope with what they are going through while I'm going through it as well? So that's my question here.
Sure. Thank you. I think you just identified what we had already talked about, but with such a personal witness, I'm just so sorry that you had to give up someone you loved and someone who loved you, that had been your rock for 15 years, and then your grandmother, or your mother, and so much loss. This is what ordinary sort of realities you are facing, but what you also just talked about is how children react differently, don't they? You were saying the same thing in the sense of she comes home and something's wrong. One of your daughters, you said, is just angry and just always angry. And to me, that's just where it is. And I think that's what we need to help you deal with, what you're experiencing and the loss and the real horror of what does it mean for you to be a single parent now without any support from your elders, without really having that partner. I'm just so sorry, first of all. I'm just terribly sorry. And do you have friends or do you have other family that are there for you? I think this is why Father Sergio was here too, that we need, when you're faced with such horrible circumstances, this is where we know that a community matters. And when you have people in the community, when you have, like what you were referring to in the sense of other parents watching out to make sure the kid is, your child is studying first and then they play. When you have other parents looking out for your kids and you likewise look out for other parents, that's one of the first solutions that are really important. But there is no solution in many ways for losing someone who's been the love of your life, unfortunately. And that to me is just a horrible reality and tragedy. And I wish I could take that away. I really do. But I think that's why we need to support you to figure out, how do you manage your trauma? How do you manage your losses? How do you manage and cope so that you can be the best parent you can be? And I think that's one of the solutions I'm hearing right away, is help us manage what feels so overwhelming, and help us manage our own grief and our own suffering. That's what I'm hearing in all this. What else is this stirring in you? And thank you for your vulnerability, quite frankly, and your honesty.
Well, as sorry if you're lost. Okay, my sympathy. How do we deal with that? Is it that we cry, let it out? I mean, we had to know that we can't damage ourselves. We have to love ourselves and these things, right? So how do we deal with it? Do we cry? Do we get somebody supportive people or somebody that we
Absolutely.
trust and we talk to, and we
Absolutely.
keep it bottled up inside of us, because eventually it will take a toll on us.
Exactly.
You understand? So it's okay to cry. You have to know that it is okay to have emotions and to cry and to have feelings and to let it out, right? But you see, when it reach a part where it's detrimental to yourself and these things, you have to know that is where it go. That is where it's taken a bad direction. I'm just saying, what I went through, my thing is, I decided to join a church
Okay.
where the church is my biggest supporter, and then I learned to just read God's word, listen to motivational speakers, because it's motivational speakers are people who went through things too, don't just think that they talk because they just here to talk. They went through things as well, so they might you listen to them, you will hear them tell their stories.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And yeah, these are things that we need to turn to God most importantly. Give
Well,
God.
you gave really two very good solutions. The first that I heard you say was feel what you feel. And it's okay to feel what you feel and to really, be present to your own grief and your own work. So the first solution you gave is really important. And that's the hard work of grieving, isn't it? It's the hard work of crying when you need to cry, of being angry when you need to be angry, of being frustrated when you're just frustrated. But allowing yourself to grieve natural losses is really important, and to me, here I am, this big doctor of psychology, and I had to learn how to grieve because I had to grieve. My mom died one year in 1992, and then 6 months later, I was in a really near-death, automobile accident. And then 6 months after that, my dad died. And then a year after that, my sister died. So I didn't know how to grieve. I didn't know what it meant to, really grieve and to go through that process. But I think that's what we have to teach each other, and that's what we have to really walk with each other. And I know for me, one of the things that helped me was drawing on my friends, drawing what family I did have, that were able to help me do that. But the second key solution you said is sometimes your faith community is important, and your faith is important. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're just angry with God too, and that's a good thing. When you're angry with God, that means that He matters to you, and that it's okay to be angry with God, and it's okay, to bring your concerns to your faith community and things like that. What's that? Absolutely. There's an old Jewish expression where there's great despair, there's great passion. In other words, you don't despair over something that doesn't matter, and to me, that's what helped me, because I was angry at God for a long time. I was like, how could you do this? How could this happen? But I realized that ultimately my anger was about wanting something different and needing something different. What other solutions have helped you all when you've been grieving, or what other solutions helped you when, you just were overwhelmed with the circumstances like what you're talking about?
I always believe you need to trust the Lord. I always believe you have to trust the Lord. The Lord knows everything before it happened. He put our name in the book of life, and He wouldn't go and give somebody my information. People just go by this one and say this will happen to you and that will happen to you. I don't believe in superstitious or astrology, whatever they call it.
Right.
I just believe the Lord is in control and He don't give you more than you could handle. And you just have to know, you live day by day with the Lord, and you pray you need to pray in the morning and in the night. You need to do that. Pray. Because that is the only way most of the time you're going to get you with this life. You need to pray. You even need to teach your children how to pray. That's what I think how you have to get you with more
Good.
lessons. That is my solution.
Absolutely.
And it have people, I just really say, that is born a certain way, they can't help it. They can't help the way they like bacchanal. They can't help the way, and they will still cause confusion. They will have more than you. They will have less than you. And because them not happy, them have to make sure you not happy. So you know what? You just pray and just leave them and let it be. Digest it.
Awesome answers. Thank you. Once again, we're going to use you as a parenting expert. We're going to put you on the road, child of God. And you're next. What other solutions help you all?
Well, one of the worst trauma I ever went through is a time up on the hill there by us there. Had a neighborhood shooting. And well, her husband, he had get shot at the time, and a next good friend of mine's had got shot at the time, but he didn't die with that. Yeah. And I was on the road and I get a call. You see, a lot of shots, a lot of people get shot. So I end up going up in the general hospital and saw them, the two guys, my two friends, her husband and my next good friend. And it just kind of take a lot out of you. So after we done do the visit and thing, and I was coming home. That was the Friday or the Saturday. The Saturday. So whole night Saturday, well, we cannot sleep and think because everything was just crazy. You're praying, you're hoping they survive it and everything. So then Sunday morning, I just was talking to God and I end up in church. And the minute I walk in church, I just feel like a whole burden just come off of me. And I just see they praying and asking God for the guys to make it and survive it and everything. Yeah, and about after church, like the evening time, I went back up again, visiting hours, and everybody started kind of come out of it, you know? Yeah, so one of my ways of dealing with it is going to church and just speaking with God and, listening to the mass. But when you walk in, to me, I don't know about others, everywhere other own way, but to me, if I have any serious trauma going through, any serious problem, tell me walk in, enter the church, you feel a relief. And when you're leaving, you feel a next relief too.
Good for you.
So that's my one of my ways of dealing with it.
Well, and notice what you're instinctively talking about too is the thing you gave your daughter is equally important. That you're going to be present to them, you're going to listen to them, and you're going to find out what's wrong with them. And interestingly, how much you walked with her, and how much you made sure that you were with your friend's wife, your friend's family, and how important friendships are at that point in relationships.
Friendships, especially when there's somebody close to you. When there's someone close to you, like your peers that you grow with, you share secrets with. It's the first time, well, my same friend who I was speaking about, he come and died some years after, but now with the shooting did survive it and he come and died with COVID. Yeah. And well, her husband, when he had died, he the first one came to me and we was talking about it now. Yeah, and he come and say, Jaji's a good one, boy, thing. Yeah, a good one go on there. I say, yeah, boy. So that next time now, I was that time there when I lost him, I didn't know what to do. Yeah, that one take a big chunk out. Even my children was talking to me and I really didn't have answers at that time. Yeah, but same thing, I had to go to church. I had to pray and, to come out of the grief.
So notice what the solutions are that we've identified, which are really important, is how important faith is, how important actually practicing that, how important it is to, have a supportive community, how important friendships are and relationships are. And sometimes you do need to, get support outside of that. Sometimes therapy, sometimes just, having support networks, that are meant to really walk with you at that point is equally important. And then also notice the community and how the community has to come together with that. And I'm sure the relationships here at work, and the relationships that, have nurtured you and that you have, you literally have physically cared for these children and the people here. and hopefully they've shown that response back to you. And for us to sort of be mindful of if someone's in need and if someone, has that, to not just be there for the time when it's an emergency, but now when it's really hard, the months, the weeks, the years, after, when you still miss that person, Yeah. Other solutions, because this is really, thank you, first of all, for just the rawness. Look at how quickly, all we had to do was ask what's going on, and look at how quickly people shared what was going on. That means this is what we call being raw. This is what, it is when the hurt, the pain is just right there, And secondarily, we've talked about solutions. What other solutions do you want to tell us would be helpful? What else do you need that you're not getting?
To why seeing? Okay. Yeah. To me, why seeing for the most challenged communities? That's my opinion. Why seeing?
Right.
I don't see no support from the people in charge.
Okay.
Unless it's coming close to election,
Right.
you will see them pass through. But other than that, even with the setter shooting on the pole, they might just come around for like a day because it make news, it on social media, just to say, all right, there was
Right.
but to follow up, nothing going on.
What would you want them to have done differently prior to all that, rather than
No,
just
they
the
could
big
they could send out like we just say, what does call it?
crisis team? or-
No. Like somebody to talk to.
Okay.
Social people.
worker. Right.
They could organize something and say, all right, the parents went through drama, the kids. Let me send some people to talk to them,
Right.
You might get for a day or two and that is it. And then 2 days after shooting again, it mightn't be as massive as what happened, but it's almost 2 to 3 days for the week or, well, now it kind of simmer down,
Right.
Yeah, with the state emergency. But I talk about on a norm.
Right.
Is gunshots every day.
Well, and then look at the pain that's still there, even though the gunshots aren't there as much.
And a lot too. Yeah. So what my son is do sometimes we home they watching TV. Tell me, and close all the doors, close the windows. You understand? And they will take off the TV, they will come in the bedroom.
What do you think that does to your children?
Well, they just go through a state, but after a while it is the normal. Yeah, they get accustomed to it. They still have to get up to go to school next morning and try and reach early.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm just saying, one of the good solutions, look, it have a lot of places in the community, no homework center. And sometimes the parents in work, children coming from school, they didn't have somewhere to go, like a homework center where a supervisor, somebody could say, all right.
So community center where they're helping,
Nothing really going on,
Wow.
It's like this lady says, the parents had to form the one little thing and do the thing for themselves.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, so that is one of the solutions I find.
Okay. Other solutions?
Yeah, so normally I call male, female, brother, and sister. That's how our church is, right? So I'll say brother, right? So what you're saying is really is make a point, right? Now I want to say something. Now let's say there has a group of gang, a gang, right? Now I just drawing a point, right? Has a gang, right? And one or two out of the gang want to make a change. Now, if they go looking for work, they can't get no work. Society has made it so hard that even if you want to change, you can't change. It's like you have to stay in your norm. Stay the way that you are and then they make things so hard now that even if you go to, like we were saying, apply for a job, you have to have all this set of, like, paper just to say, well, okay. So what happens to somebody who wants to make a change? what happens to a person
So there are no
who
job
wants to come out
opportunities
of that?
from the gangs. Yeah. So,
Because it does have people who wants to come out.
Opportunity, but they start to label you from kind of precarious.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
right. Yeah.
They put you like this, they're going to label you. They even know you, they even know what qualification you have. They're going
Right.
to label you.
And this 11 till adios.
Yeah.
Meet up,
Right.
adios.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's it. Period. That's it. Just wait a minute.
so that prejudice within in society itself. Right.
And you want to make a change.
Right. That's what we heard even yesterday when we were at St. Anthony's is people just box you in because as soon as you mention Laventille, there are parents from Laventille who were just saying, as soon as we mention our name, then they think they know us, Really, it's so unfair what we do to each other, What other solutions? Thank you for that, because that to me is one of the real community answers. That why I invited Father Sergio here is because we as researchers and we as clinicians have gone into all of these schools, and what we're realizing is this is a systems problem.
I want to know why. If I wasn't a gang, I want to know why I'm being discriminated. I mean, yes, I understand I'm in a gang and but I want to make a change. Why can't I? Why you can't work with me? Why?
Exactly.
Why you can't help me to become a better person? I mean, I'm sure I want to be a better person. I'm saying I need help. Why don't you help me?
And that's where our community involvement has to be next, where we help with the government, we help with other services to say those who want to choose to get out of gangs can go into this job training opportunity or begin to look at different ways that we, really help those who want to change.
But also, let's say like this. Now I have taken a course, and they said you have to have a bank account, you have to have you have to have an ID card, you have to have all these sort of things that most people. I'm not saying some people may not have access.
Exactly. So we have to have those wraparound.
That's what I'm saying. Due to the lifestyle.
You have to have all of that support. Yeah. You can't just have one solution, because just finding a job isn't going to get you out of, the predicament you're in.
When they see
Exactly.
all of that, just give up. Because,
Exactly. And then they go back into more violence. So the cycle can be. Please.
Yes, well, my solution, if you look around the room, right, and the parents, you see one meal only. And this is a regular thing, it don't matter where, it don't matter which schools, like it's always the females. Now, I remember when I was home and I was hearing some fellas, they were outside and I was in my room. And I was listening, and it's somebody who was in a gang and all these things, and I'm just listening to the conversation. And one thing he said stuck with me for many years. He said, if I had a male figure around me, I don't think I would have done and been the person I am now.
Wow.
That touched my heart when I heard that conversation. So I think that is male figures are beyond important. And I don't think some males realize how important it is. Whether it's a boy child, whether it's a girl child, it's extremely important. And I think that is something we had to look at to whether I be more males coming around, whether it be officers, whether whoever it is, to just be able to spend some time with not only the children, because as they say, it starts at the parent level. You understand? Some of these young men that you see and doing 1,000,001 thing, when you watch, not necessarily much male figure. And if they do have, it's not really people that you would want to be around, right? But they don't have that stand-up person that will say, well, okay, I see you're doing wrong, and this is not what you're supposed to be doing. I see the light in you. I will speak life into you. All these different things. So basically what they are growing up seeing is the gang members, and some, she was right, some gang members they do, want to see better for the children. They do be like, okay, this is not right. I don't want it. But it's hard to take that message from somebody that keeps doing it. So sometimes you want somebody on the outside and not somebody who have not experienced those type of things, but you want somebody who have experienced it. So when they're having a conversation, you can say, well, okay, I know how this feel. I have been in it. And look how I got out. Because sometimes the best testimony is from people who have experienced it. Because how you expect to understand how I feel if you have never been in it? It's hard.
Amen.
So that is
Great
something I would
wisdom.
suggest.
Thank you.
You all have so much
Thank
wisdom.
you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing.
Any other last words of wisdom? I'm going to put a microphone right. Well, first of all, I just want to, you sure? Any last words? First of all, thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for your sharing. Thank you for really protecting your children and other children. Thank you for your witness of courage. Thank you for the wisdom of just really giving us just good solutions. Father, do you have any reactions or insight? If you take that too, please.
Well, I found the point raised to be very important because that is the point about dealing with parents when they are going through their very deep trauma, like all of you have been. From my point of view, we have been hearing more about the children. Because if I go to the schools, the teachers would say it would be nice if we have a sort of godfather person to come in the school, whether it's once a week, so that children will just talk. So, we were thinking about how we can make that happen. But this other point, it is very important that it's not only the children, but also the parents are coping with trauma as well and different kinds of trauma. Some of you mentioned church. Our church is right there in the midst of everything. I would like to think if you come seeking help or you want someone to talk to, the door is always open. It's 4 of us who live there, and I'm sure we can do more work with.
In the cathedral right there?
Yes. So Father was saying that, most of parenting has just been there, listening and so on. And I think that much we can do. We can listen and hopefully empathize in a really good way. And whatever other way we can help, we can. Because I do believe it is important for children to see progress, that people who have been there are successful in life. And they've gone on, they've had their jobs and so on, they're doing well. One of the teachers who went to Boys RC here is teaching in Nelson Street Boys RC School. And he's not the only one like that I've met. So I think you have to believe in the overcoming of odds. Sometimes I think we are determined by the environment in which we live. And I think, as Father also said, that expression where there is a lot of despair, there is also a lot of passion. You must have that passion to get out of the context in which the environment wants to determine you 100%. But I've heard this story all the time. It's really, for agencies to become more compassionate and with respect to their leadership, so that when they see what is Laventille, see lots beat them, they don't just put it aside and wait for someone else. And we've been hearing that from Sister Debbie DeRosier, who works in CLOTS for the past 8 years. And that is one of the complaints. There are skilled people there, but people said they're not being hired. They're not being hired because once the employer or supervisor sees CLOTS, BTAM, Laventille, they just don't take them. So you really need a about turn in mentality as well on the level of employers, the state, to believe in people and to trust in them, and especially to help. As you said, there are people who want to get out, and we should really be there to help them get out, not keep them down there.
Thank you, Father. And that's one of the key things we hope you all know is You're chosen as a pilot school because we intend to be back here. We intend to walk with you and really take your solutions seriously. So I hope you hear that. That's one of the reasons why we invited Father here, was really because we also see that's got to be in the community too. We've got to engage you in the communities in which you live, in which you breathe, in which you raise your children. And that's got to be part of the solution. It's not just about caring for the kids. Now we realize even more it's caring for you as parents and what we can do for you. And so I hear that, and I want you to know that, that we will do something. But you got to help us with what you need and continue to communicate with us about that, because it's going to be different for each of you. But at the same time, I think many of you could be trainers. I can't thank you enough. You are a source of blessing to me and to this community. And notice what it is: when we touch the pain, we can find healing. And I leave you with that. You know, I can't thank you enough because you allowed us to see the pain. And to me, I pray and hope that this is one more aspect of your healing, and you continue to help us be instruments of what you need. Okay? So again, thank you. You honor me, you honor us by being here today. And I can't thank you enough. I just can't thank you enough. Did you want to say something more?
I mean, in no way have I on the kind of trauma you've been through, but I do feel part of it, because it's less now, but when I first came, the bullets, the gunshots would wake me up anywhere from 12 midnight to 3 a.m. in the morning, you know, so it affected my sleep. And my room is the only room on the ground floor, so I hear everything. Also, I never knew a gunshot could sound so loud. I thought it was an explosion, and then I went outside. There was a man who was shot in the chest, a taxi driver just outside my fence. I think at the time I was just stunned. I didn't do anything. I didn't even go to say a prayer for him also. And then a second time they shot, well, he survived, but then they shot another guy not too far from the church fence. So this time I went to the person who was shot. I didn't approach from the front because that's where all the blood was. I stayed in the back, and I prayed with him and so on, only to discover, since I didn't see his face, I was at the back. He was a gardener who worked for me for about 2 months, yeah, in his 30s. So I'm not immune to it. It's not as deep as what you experience on a daily basis, but I do feel it, and I'm close to it in a way I have not been in my other parishes in South.
Thank you.
How about if we end in a prayer, if people don't mind? Let us make ourselves aware of how much we live and move and have our being in God. Gracious and loving God, Father, send forth your Spirit and recreate in us your love and your peace. Lord, we see you in the blood of your bodied Christ, of bloodied Christ. Help us enter those wounds, Lord, so that we may find healing, we may find consolation, we may find your grace. We may see you and each other as the risen one. We may see and hear your voice in each other's voices. Most especially, we may see and be your touch in all that we touch this day. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. May the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit bless us and keep us. Thank you all again. You honor us.